Urgent, Birds fan! Look at what just happened! Nobody saw this coming, huh? But first, make sure to subscribe to the channel, because we bring you daily videos with the latest Birds news. And don't forget to turn on notifications so you don't miss anything. Eagles shockingly left with can't-miss defensive prospects on day 2 of NFL Draft. Here's the best part. There's still a ton of defensive talent for the Eagles to choose from on day 2 of the NFL Draft. The smoke cleared, the dust settled. We have the answer to a question we've asked since the Super Bowl's close. Jihad Campbell is the Philadelphia Eagles' newest member. He stands at 6'3" and tips the scales at 244 pounds. Some graded him as the top off-ball linebacker in this 2025 NFL draft class. Philly landed him at 31. The Birds are off to a great start. That's good news, but there's still work to do. It may be even better news that many of the top defenders are still on the board and available for selection. This isn't the greatest draft class we have seen. Howie Roseman previously mentioned the Birds didn't have 32 players graded as round 1 prospects, but he graded Camabell in the top 10. Philly is in luck, as is always the case. Ahead of night 2, many of the guys we thought would hear their name called in round 1 are still available. Here are the best remaining defensive prospects after an exciting first night of NFL draft action. There's a chance we could be trending toward another round 2 steal. Currently, Philly holds the 64th overall selection. 32 picks are in the books, including 4 that were made by NFC East rivals Abdul Carter, and Jackson Dart landed with the New York Giants. The Cowboys selected guard Tyler Booker. The Washington Commanders added Josh Connerly. Philly is still the cream of the crop in this division, but they were ravaged on the defensive side of the ball during free agency. Josh Sweat, Milton Williams, Darius Slay, Isaiah Rodgers, Oren Burks, and Avonte Maddox are all among the notable departures. Look for the Birds to stock the cupboards, giving Vic Fangio some new weapons to deploy. Here are some of the higher-graded defenders who are still available. Mike Green, edge. Marshall some graded Mike Green as the second-best edge rusher in this draft. He hasn't played the best competition, but he's dominated who he's seen to this point. He's also a solid run defender, which will endear him to Vic Fangio. Donovan Eziruaku, edge, Boston College Eagles. How is this guy still available? Clearly a top 5 edge rusher. Whoever lands Donovan Eziruaku will get themselves a steal. Will Johnson, cornerback, Michigan Wolverines. Will Johnson doesn't have elite long speed, but he's seemingly elite at everything else. Has a solid cover guy who won't have to wait much longer to hear his name called. CB Shavon Revel Jr., cornerback, East Carolina Pirates. Another big fish from a small school. Shavon Revel Jr. is raw. His history also consists of a torn ACL, but don't snooze. The talent is definitely there. Trey Amos, cornerback, Ole Miss Rebels Philly, likes Trey Amos. He isn't the most explosive from a speed standpoint, but he's a solid second corner who could develop into a CB1. Nick Emenwari, safety, South Carolina Gamecocks Philly, has 6 picks remaining. They have 3 between rounds 2 and 4, 64, 96, and 134. They own 4 in the 5th round. Unless something changes, they'll select at picks 161, 165, and 168. We expect that to change between now and Saturday. You should probably expect the same thing. It doesn't get much better than what we witnessed on night 1, but day 2 will likely place more smiles on our faces. Kevin Winston Jr., safety, Penn State. Nittany Lions. One of the later top 30 visits Philly held was with Kevin Winston Sr. A recent injury may have resulted in his slide along with occasional inconsistent production, but if he is fully recovered, he'll be very good for a very long time. Pausing this news just to say that if you want YouTube to keep recommending the latest Eagles Nation news to you, it's very important that you leave a like on this video. Thanks. Now let's get back to the news. The Kenny Pickett for Dorian Thompson-Robinson. Trade is a wrap full details. The Eagles swapped quarterbacks with the Cleveland Browns, and the final piece of the Kenny Pickett and Dorian Thompson-Robinson deal are in place. The NFL Draft includes closing the books on trades that included draft picks as compensation, including the deal that sent Kenny Pickett to the Cleveland Browns, netting the Philadelphia Eagles an extra day 3 pick in the 2025 NFL Draft. Original. In terms of the Kenny Pickett trade for Dorian Thompson-Robinson, Eagles get Dorian Thompson-Robinson. 2025 5th-round pick Browns get Kenny Pickett. The pick, originally from the Detroit Lions, settled at 164 overall. Who did the Eagles select with the pick from the Kenny Pickett trade? In addition to Dorian Thompson-Robinson, the Eagles received a fifth-round selection, pick 164. The Eagles then packaged pick 164 and pick 32 to trade up one spot with the Kansas City Chiefs to select Jihaad Campbell at pick 31 in the first round. It remains to be seen who the Chiefs will pick at 164, assuming they keep the selection. What did the Browns get in the Kenny Pickett trade? The Browns received former first-round pick of the Pittsburgh Steelers, Kenny Pickett, who is now with his third team in as many seasons. His production in Pittsburgh was far from stellar, though he will be able to show his teammates in Cleveland the Super Bowl ring he earned, backing up Jalen Hurts for the Eagles during 2024. What should fans of both teams expect in terms of on-field performance from Dorian Thompson-Robinson? Neither Pickett nor Thompson-Robinson has shown much to this point in their careers, but both are young enough that it is too early to write them off. With that in mind, the Eagles now have Thompson-Robinson as a QB3 option for 2 seasons for less than the Browns are obligated to pay Pickett for a single season. Chiefs, Eagles trade grades for intriguing Jihaad Campbell Super Bowl swap Howie. Roseman finally secured a win-win trade with the Chiefs that brought Jihaad Campbell to Philly. For the second time this year, the Philadelphia Eagles engaged with the Kansas City Chiefs in a high-stakes battle of wills. And for the second time this year, the Eagles came out on top, securing the player they coveted most in the 2025 NFL Draft, Alabama linebacker Jihaad Campbell, using the pick the Chiefs earned for losing Super Bowl 59. While the irony was rich, the deal truly was a win-win. As both sides got the player they liked, the value to move up a spot was mutually beneficial, and in the end, both teams secured a W to close out the first round of the 2025 NFL Draft. While some fans will debate the move for years to come, especially if Campbell becomes a major player or the Chiefs admit they didn't have another inquiring team looking to make a deal, for now both Vic Fangio and Andy Reid got their guys, and both teams have to be happy with how things shook out. Eagles grade A from a pure player evaluation perspective. It's hard to argue with the player the Eagles landed at pick 31, as Campbell was the highest-ranking linebacker on the board, a certified difference maker against the run, pass, and as a blitzer, and would have been off the board in the top half of the first round if he wasn't coming off of a shoulder injury. Now granted, Campbell may start off the season on PUP, which is bad news, considering Nakobe Dean will almost certainly suffer a similar fate after a playoff-torn patellar tendon, but when he's eventually healthy, it's hard to argue that the Eagles won't be a much better team when the Alabama rusher is healthy. At full strength, the Eagles could use Campbell as a 34 outside linebacker, play him in coverage off the ball, and effectively have mirrored players on both sides of the center, with Bowen having nearly identical measurables from a height and weight perspective. What prevents this deal from being an A, however, is the Eagles' decision to give up one of their 4 fifth-round picks to select Campbell, as it's unlikely the Chiefs were going to select the Bama backer considering their needs on the offensive line. Was another team interested in trading up for Campbell? Or did the Eagles know they can't roster 8 players this fall? During the draft, Adam Schefter noted that the Eagles spent their entire 20s looking to secure Campbell's services, with Howie Roseman trying to make a deal with the Los Angeles Chargers at 22. After trading to number 31, the Eagles select Bama LB Jihaad Campbell, Schefter wrote. The player they've coveted all along. In fact, they nearly traded for him at the Chargers pick. As was noted multiple times on the ESPN broadcast of Day 1, the Eagles really wanted to land Campbell and made multiple calls around the league in order to see if someone was willing to make a deal. If the team was that desperate to make Campbell an Eagle, then how can anyone really fault them for being extra sure he didn't slip away at the 11th hour? Campbell runs as fast as Malachi Starks, is as big as Chop Robinson, and can absolutely decimate ball handlers behind the line of scrimmage. What's not to like? Chiefs grade AI if the Chiefs wanted to draft Campbell, then giving up a 5th-round pick to select a player who is lower on their board would be a questionable decision. But here's the thing, the Chiefs almost certainly didn't want to draft Campbell. At least not with Josh Simmons also on the board. Heading into the draft, Simmons was a popular pick for the Chiefs at 31 or 32 because of his long-term upside. Once considered the top offensive tackle in this year's class before the back half of his season was robbed by a mid-October injury, Simmons could be blocking Patrick Mahomes' blindside for the next 5 years, even if his exact start date for the team remains very much up in the air as he recovers. If the Chiefs allowed Nick Bolton to walk in free agency, then hey, maybe they would have had interest in Campbell, but between his injury and the return of their starting linebacker on a 3-year, $45 million deal, that likely wasn't going to be the pick either way. With Roseman's interest in Campbell known, Brett Veach was able to use his leverage to get a free 5th-round pick from a general manager who was eager to make a move, and that is how good teams stay good at the end of the day. And now, Birds fan, I want to hear from you. What's your opinion on this? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I don't know if you know this, but your opinion matters a lot for Birds. I'll be back any moment with more Eagles Nation news. Fly, Eagles, fly.